Like everybody else, I've only been given 10 minutes to speak. Okay. All right, so what I want to do though, first of all, I've been asked to talk, give a word of sort of a counsel or advice to the community. There have been those who have spoken to the students. And by the way, I want to say, you guys look good, man. You're really radiant, mashallah. What I want to say to the community is the following: a few points. I think that as we sit here in this room on this particular occasion, it's really important for us to have a sense of historical consciousness of where we are in the history of ourselves as a community.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of people in here might not have the historical trajectory that others in this room have. But I think it's really important to understand, sometimes communities pray for miracles, and they pray for miracles, and they pray for miracles. And then when the miracle comes, they don't even recognize it. And what we have to do is we have to recognize that what we are seeing in the development of Islam in America, and let me say, and I don't mean to exclude anyone, this is a focus, not an exclusion, all right? And let me say, Islam in the Black American community. It is time that we recognize this development for the miracle that it is. For the miracle that it is. The occasion that we are here on today is a crowning jewel of that miracle. And let me just share again historical consciousness. I don't know if I should say this, but I will. I'll be 70 years old my next birthday. I know Hafeez when I was a child. In fact, when I was in elementary school, there weren't even any Muslims. And by the way, this is in the city of Philadelphia, one of the most black Muslim cities in the country today. But when I was a child, there was none of that there. None of that there. All right? And as I've said before, on the day when I was born, if you had told my parents, who were holding this little handsome young man in their arms, that one day he's going to grow up to be a Muslim, that you're going to visit his home, and your granddaughters are going to be wearing scarves, and your grandchildren are going to be praying in this strange language, that the city that you live in was going to be teeming with Muslims, that at one point the most famous human being on the planet would be a black American named Muhammad Ali. No one would have believed you. No one would have believed that. No one could have imagined that. And yet, it happened. And it's time for us as a community to regain our ability to believe in the possibility of miracles. Because a miracle is really nothing more and nothing less than Allah saying what? Kun. Fayakun. That's all it is. And for us to maintain our connection to Allah, our connection to that very possibility, that book is the key. And that is why we must be a Qur'an-centered community. And so what we're celebrating here today, I just want us to have a sense of historical perspective. This is not just another day. All right? And this is not even just the achievement of these young men. This is the culmination of efforts and prayers and sacrifices, and prayers and efforts and sacrifices that have been going on for some time. And all of us have been a part of that. How many of us, almost on a daily basis, make prayer, make dua for the ummah of Muhammad? And some of us even say, وَخَاصَةً فِي أَمْرِيكَ. We do this all the time. And now we're seeing some of this unfold before our eyes. Let us recognize that. Let us not be like those people, many of whom the Qur'an talks about, who are just ghafilin. So that's the first point that I wanted to make. The second point I want to make is that, you know, as we celebrate this occasion, I'm getting nervous, man, when this time stuff. Anyway, in all seriousness, the second point that I want to make, and I'm very serious about this, is that, you know, as we celebrate this as the personal, individual accomplishment of these beautiful young men, I think it's important that we also celebrate as a community, and that we see this as a communal accomplishment as well. All right? And it's really important. And I'm just going to say something here that I think merits saying, because this is part of our communal property, as it were, something that we own now as a community. That's right. And so now we are like so many other Muslim communities in the world. They produce their Hafez, we produce ours. And I say that not in a spirit of competition, not at all. I say that because it's important for us as an ummah, as a global community, that when various and sundry parts of that community come together, that they are able to come together as equals, who come together to discuss the issues of the ummah, the possibilities of the ummah, as equals, recognizing each other as fully invested, fully committed, and fully qualified to contribute to the well-being of the ummah. And so we have to see this as a community as well. And this is part of our pride as a community. And all communities have to have that. And so as we celebrate this, I want to remind us to celebrate this also as a community. This is a communal accomplishment. And that we, as we walk out of this room and we walk about now, we should be proud that we are now, like every other Muslim community on the planet, we produce our Hafez. And I've said for some time, the American community of Muslims, the American Muslim community, has to become a self-authenticating community. Yes, yes. It has to become a self-authenticating community. And this is not, again, this is not a matter of competition. This is not a matter of ego. Ubaydullah told a story. I don't want to tell too many stories because then we end up, you know. Anyway, but I remember this is also in Egypt. I was studying with the Sheikh, and after the lesson he said, "Listen, I want you to help me do something." I said, "What?" He said, "I got all these questions from these women from the West because they had this online thing, you know, Islam online, you know, everybody can send in and ask questions. They get fatwas." And he said, "I got all these questions from these ladies from Europe and America. I want you to help me answer them." He's a sheikh, but he said, "You know the reality in ways that I don't. You know aspects of that reality that I could not even fathom. So I want you to help me answer these questions." That's all I mean in terms of the American Muslim community becoming a self-authenticated community. Because no one knows our reality like we know our reality. And we have to be the ones to address our reality. And this is a part of that. This is a part of a communal effort. All right. See, I'm rushing, man. Anyway. I also think it's important for the community to recognize its role beyond the accomplishment of of these young men. And that the community, and I mean those of you who are not Hafal, who are not scholars, who are not shuyukh, who are not PhDs, who are not any of that, to recognize yourselves as co-producers of this phenomenon of Islam. Not mere recipients of what the Hafal and the scholars and the sheikhs and no, you're not recipients. You are co-producers. And you have to recognize yourselves as co-producers. All right? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the recipient of revelation. And he had all kinds of challenges that he had to confront. All right? But who trained the army? Who drew the maps? Who made the weapons? There were all kinds of things that the community needed that did not just come from him. And the community had a critical role to play in that. And unfortunately, somehow, and this is my perspective, take it for what it's worth, somehow we have been taught that community, these guys are just recipients. You know, the scholars tell you, and then that's it. Well, we need skills, we need talents, we need gifts beyond those of what some of the scholars have. We need you. We need you. And you must understand your role in this collective enterprise of establishing and living and perpetuating Islam in this part of the world. That you too are carriers of the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is a part of a bigger whole, of which you are a critical element. And I think it's important for us to recognize that. Finally,